Hello, everybody. My name is Lumir, and I'm the CEO of MClimate, where we make any home and building smart. Today, I'm gonna be telling you more about healthy buildings using IoT and especially with LoRaWAN. I'm gonna talk about the trends that are currently going, why are people using them, and also at the end, I'm gonna share more about our solutions on the topic. So, with COVID, a lot of things have changed, and actually, the IoT has accelerated in buildings, especially. So, the first kind of factor is that a lot of the people actually left the building, and building owners were left with basically almost empty buildings, but they were heating as if they were full. They were basically using the buildings as they were full, which obviously doesn't make a lot of sense. So they had to put sensors, some devices to gather more data, to make intelligent business decisions that are based on data, instead of just thinking about them. Um, so the one of the obvious examples for is as I said, the heating and the cooling. Like you wouldn't like to heat a place if there's nobody inside. The kind of second factor would be the compliance with the social distancing rules. So there were a lot of solutions that actually monitor how many people are inside the room right now, how far away are they, etc. And this again gives you not only to the building owners, but more about the people that shifted to working from home. It gives them some confidence that the place they go to work is actually a healthy environment. Um, then it comes also the obviously the priority for health and well-being. We've seen a lot of development in this area, for example, in factories, something that we don't deal with as a company, but I wanted to give this as an example. For example, those tags that we use for entrance and basically access to the building, they're a new type of tags that actually monitor how far away are we from each other. So you can imagine that given that information, all going to the cloud at some point, if there is a COVID positive test, they can really easily track this person and who has he talked to, stayed close to, or like how much time did he spend with the other people. Um, then it's also a matter of accelerating the social responsibility, the image of the companies, and for example, in our building, the space that our company is working at, um, they've done a tremendous, just amazing job of ensuring our safety, and this, especially me and all of my colleagues, actually kind of motivates us to go to the office. I'm gonna give you an example. There is an air purifier and a UV purifier in every room. And me, as a person with allergies, this really encourages me to, go to the office from my mountain home that, in the spring has a lot of pollens, for example. Not really connected with IoT, but I'm talking about the image of those companies and those spaces, those buildings. Are they actually taking care of the people that go and work there or live there? Um, Last but not least, it's protecting the real estate value. Obviously, if you have a big building, you wouldn't like it to be empty. So companies, offices are investing into IoT devices that solve real world problems to basically ensure the safety of the occupants and encourage them to get back to the building. And this is there is a study by Vodafone of over 1,500 businesses, and they all report that the COVID-19 pandemic has actually been accelerating the IoT adoption rate. A lot of solutions were launched on the market that solve a lot of problems with the COVID, and we can see this also in the data. So I'm gonna leave you to. I'm not gonna walk you through all the percentages on the screen, but obviously, everything above almost 80% means that the adoption of IoT, especially in workspaces, has risen by a lot, and it's going to continue to rise, solely because the owners and also everybody inside the building was made aware that such um, solutions actually exist. There are a couple of I wouldn't say new technologies, but here I'm going to talk about LoRaWAN, for example. It's one of the connectivity technologies. So you can imagine that LoRaWAN, it's kind of like Wi-Fi, but then for things. With Wi-Fi you can stream a movie. With LoRaWAN you cannot do that. But with LoRaWAN you can transmit, for example, what is the CO2 in this room right now. You can do this every, let's say, 5 minutes, and you can have this device operate on battery for 10 years, which is amazing. And obviously, with LoRaWAN, there is a really good indoor penetration, which means that you need only one kind of router. If I'm comparing things to Wi-Fi, to connect to the devices in the whole building, which makes things really easy to deploy. Back then we had to, when we were using, for example, MBuzz, or in the smart home space as well, we were using Z-Wave, Zigbee, etc. And those are technologies that if you deploy them into a large building, like in the office, you're gonna need to put gateways every 10 or 20 meters. And with LoRaWAN, you have only one gateway because it penetrates really well through walls, and also a lot of the benefits that you currently see on your screen. So basically the benefits that our solution is offering, I would say that it's first and foremost, I'm going to be talking about the solutions a bit later, but first and foremost we're focused on the savings that our solutions are generating. So we have installed tens of thousands right now, more than 10, I mean many tens of thousands of devices at different clients, different parts of Europe, but we see that we save about 30%, in some cases even more, of the energy. And this is important for us so that you can really see that you're getting return on your investment of getting those devices, getting this software. Then it's also about data. I mean, it's important to know, what is happening there. How is the system working, for example? If we're talking about the solution that we have for heating and cooling, obviously you would like to know if a room is being overheated, or if, for example, the room is being heated while it shouldn't be. And also we can detect some changes in, some malfunctions in the systems themselves. So in the heating system, for example, we can detect if something is wrong and could cause a larger problem later down the road. So our capabilities, we as MClimate, we started back in 2014, which is almost 6, and it's going to become 7 years ago, a long time. We have developed more than 20 products that we developed from scratch, from just an idea. So we have in-house design, engineering capabilities. We get things into manufacturing. We're really right now we're getting more and more momentum with LoRaWAN, but we also deal with Wi-Fi, for example, with wireless MBuzz, things that we did especially in the past when it was more relevant. We're working also with all kinds of companies, to be honest. So the key kind of stakeholders in our business are obviously utilities companies, so electricity, gas, etc., and energy efficiency companies, facility management companies, building owners, etc. But what we can offer you is basically couple of types of solutions addressing different problems, but both hardware and software, or just the software. For some telecoms, we also do white label deals. If you have an idea about the device that you think it's going to solve your problem, then you can, again, get in touch with us, because I mean, we're experts in making devices. You can imagine that for 7 years to get 20 devices from just an idea into manufacturing, it's a lot. And our smart building portfolio, here I'm not going to be talking about the smart home portfolio that we have, but our smart building portfolio, it's basically divided into three parts. So the first one, it's energy efficiency for heating and cooling, which also addresses the comfort. Then we have water control and damage prevention. And last but not least, definitely not least, actionable air quality and healthcare. I'm gonna start with the air quality and healthcare because I feel like right now it's is the most relevant. Um, it's a sensor that basically tracks what is the quality of the air inside the room, so what is the chance also of transmission of a virus, and also notifies the occupants if the room must be ventilated. Then we have the water control and damage prevention solution. It comprises of two products. And all of those products, all the products in this portfolio can operate about 10 years with just regular batteries, which is amazing, I would say. So the water control and damage prevention solution consists of a flood sensor, so a small device that you put somewhere where you think a flood might happen, and also a water valve that basically allows you to control the water supply. The valve is certified for drinking water as well, so no problems. We actually developed this with together with a utility from Europe. But you can imagine what is the application. If there is a flood, the water automatically gets shut off, which is really interesting for not only end consumers but also for insurance companies. Last but not least, I'm going to be talking about our energy efficiency, especially about heating and cooling. We've done a lot of installations with this solution. So what we do basically is we retrofit buildings with smart radiator valves. So smart thermostats that go on the place where the old thermostat was on the radiator. And we allow for, we do this both in residential and also office spaces, but we allow for better temperature control. So for residential, for example, they get an application where they can monitor, they can, adjust the temperature, set schedules, etc. And for office spaces, it's also really interesting because you can imagine like meeting rooms are not used as often. This is just one of the ways that you can save a lot of energy. Just have our system integrated with your booking system, and then heat up the room before the meeting or before people go to the office. So it's this device especially, it can save more than 30% in a building, and we have lots of installations with it. I'm going to be talking about them in a second. So I'm not going to be getting into a lot of details because I'm not sure how much time do I have. But this is how it works. You have a gateway, kind of like a router, kind of like, it looks like it. You install it somewhere in the building, and then it wirelessly communicates with LoRaWAN to all the devices. All this data goes to our cloud or your cloud if you wish, and then it's fed into software to kind of show you. So it can go to a mobile application so that people can control it. It can go to a dashboard, for example, for a facility manager. But basically the total installation for a fairly large residential building, let's say, are somewhere about 10,000 euro for the whole building, having about 30% savings and more comfort from controlling the heating there. This is just an example with the heating. And last year in a country that I cannot name in the EU, our estimated savings were 500,000 euro. And this is with just, a couple of hundred buildings. And we're forecasting that we're going to be saving way more afterwards. We have installations in municipal buildings, hospitals, police stations, a lot of residential buildings, also office spaces. And I'm not going to be talking about that really thoroughly, but we have installed about 12,000 so far in a Nordic country, especially for residential spaces. And we have pilots going on, a lot of pilots, a lot of also scale-ups that we have, but I wanted to talk about more about the pilots here. I just wanted to mention one of the scale-ups. But for example, we're testing with a utility company, a water utility company, the T-valve, the device for water management, for water control, and the flood sensors. You can imagine why a water utility would like to be able to shut off the water. But with the flood sensor, it really adds a lot of value. We have a German energy efficiency provider that we executed the project together. They found a client, it's a police station. They actually reach out to us asking for Wiki for the radiator valve thermostat, and we installed about 1,000 units in a police station. So the savings for next year are going to be about 30% for this kind of municipal building. Then we have another German company, a joint venture between a consultancy group and a utility in Germany, where we're basically installing currently undefined really. They're growing by the month, but you know, smart heating and cooling solutions for office buildings in Germany. And we have projects in Spain, in the UK, in France as well. But I think I'm running out of time. So thank you very much. If you want to get in touch with us, I'm sure that the organizers are going to leave a contact somewhere. And if you want to be building a more energy efficient and healthy environment for your clients, then feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you.